think there's just one more point I would add on the gas safe report.
Yes.
The engineer actually put an at-risk notice on which had to be isolated by law.
Getting there.
Which could have... Very relevant. I left for China straight after Christmas, left my wife and my daughter in a house that could potentially add poison and what consequences. So that's much more damaging to me than the cost of the repairs in reality.
I have a report exactly as is described saying that this wasn't just bad, that this was entirely unsafe. What do you have to say in response, sir?
Everything that I did was done as per the instructions, and I did offer a new boiler, to saying it will break down, because I knew it would, and he declined it.
Sound right?
No.
I offered that
Now,
in September.
that's OK, sir, because you've got a complaints book. Where do I find that record?
You don't find that record, Judge. It was
Why
all
not?
verbal.
All verbal?
Yes.
Sir, I know you might not speak Chinese, but do you have amnesia?
No.
So you haven't forgotten your Chinese? Was that said to you?
No.
Understood. Now, can I ask you a question, sir? Because I don't want to be unkind. And it's not nothing, you see, that you've been in business for years without being the subject of a legal dispute. I suspect you've dealt with small jobs, and I also suspect you've dealt with them rather successfully. Otherwise, you would have been the subject of other litigation. Understood?
Yes.
I don't criticise you in that sense. What I also strongly suspect, which may not be entirely your fault, to say the least, was that this job was rather too big for you. Correct?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Now, what's your current situation, sir? Are you still working as a plumber?
No.
Why have you given up? What have you moved on to?
I have taken early retirement.
David, Gareth. Gareth, I do not think that for the vast majority of your commercial life you have been a bad plumber. Not at all. If you had been, you would have been sued before many, many times. I suspect you know what you were doing. And I know that because until very, very recently, you were gas safe registered, which means you have to keep things up, to say the very least. This was a job that you took on at the end of your career and far larger than you had been used to. The consequences were that it seems to me that on any view it was difficult and got out of hand. But when you are a plumber or a tradesman of repute, you have a very important and significant obligation. And it's greater than the average person or an amateur in law. You have to execute your job to the standard of a reasonably competent plumber. And it's for David to demonstrate to me, so that I'm more sure than not, that you haven't. In this case, it's very easy to do that because the evidence speaks for itself. There was damage which was caused. You're not able to provide me with any evidence to say that he was given any warning, for example, about changing the boiler. Even if you had given him that warning, as a professional, it was up to you to say to a client, if you thought that a bad result would ensue, it was your job to say, no, I'm not doing it. That's a consequence which flows, and consequently, you are liable. You're not just liable for the boiler, you're also liable for any of the leak site and the ensuing damage. David, your application is for £1,050 for the boiler issue, I'll call it, and the damage from the leak sites. The total claim is for £4,410.32, and I have no choice but to order you that full amount. The order of this court is £4,410.32, and I wish you a great deal of luck in your retirement, sir. Thank you.
David won his case and was awarded the full amount of his claim. Let's find out how both parties felt about the judge's ruling.
I think justice has been done. You know, Gareth was in the wrong in a large portion of it. Poor workmanship, poor management. You know, I take a little bit of responsibility for perhaps communication between the third party and Gareth. Yes, it was busy. It was a busy site.
I was suspecting that I would lose the case, but I didn't really have the opportunity to repair everything, and I could have got a new contractor in and paid for that replacement boiler myself. But he took somebody off his own back and got a new person in.
I think Judge Rinder was very professional. I think he based all the discussion on facts and no hearsay, which I think is absolutely the right thing to do in a court of law, I'm sure.
I would like to apologise for the way it went in the end.
Okay.
I'd like to shake your
I
hand.
appreciate
Sorry
that.
about it.
Okay, so no hardship?
No hardship.
Okay.
Don't be stupid. Stay and watch the best Judge Rinder moments. And I'm talking. Understood? Don't be a moron. Subscribe to Judge Rinder YouTube channel. Right now. That's an order.